Creativity, one of Britain's greatest success stories. From James Bond to Downton Abbey, from Sherlock Holmes to the Blue Planet, the creative industry generates nearly £10 million every hour of every day for the UK economy. And it has hundreds of millions of adoring fans around the world.
哈利波特、神探夏洛特、唐顿庄园等当代的英国文这些文艺作品啊，也受到中国观众的喜爱。
But the British expertise that truly captures the Chinese leader's heart and the nation's imagination is football.
Can China become a world football superpower by 2050?
The president has called football a national priority.
And as we know, President Xi, big football fan, they want to host the Cup, they want to win the World Cup.
The World Cup, so important for everyone, for the whole nation.
I'm Matt Hall, and I'm a football journalist. For nearly 3 decades, I've covered the incredible drama that unfolds within football. But living in China for the last 15 years has opened my eyes to a soccer story unlike any other. The beautiful game saw a nation advance from the relegation zone of widespread poverty to the Premier League of global affairs. Now, China is targeting goals beyond economic growth.
加强中外人文交流，以我为主，兼收并蓄。
As Britain forges new partnerships in the realms of art, culture and education, I'm interested to see what role China will play.
China needs to be more open-minded. We need to learn and we need to develop our own stuffs.
And as a football reporter and fan, I'm keen to see whether joining forces with a former champion could lead to a World Cup victory made in China. Thatched roofs, windy lanes, a snorting bull, and a 900 years old church. Everything about this small village 50 miles northwest of London feels quintessentially English. But one local resident has made a name for himself telling Chinese stories. Documentary filmmaker Bill Locke has led some of the most successful television co-productions between China and the UK. One of the shows his company Lion Television is best known for is a 3-part series capturing the biggest event in the Chinese calendar.
3, 2, 1, go!
Over the next 3 nights, we'll be based here in icy Harbin and way down south in tropical Hong Kong, exploring how the Chinese experience the most important festival in their calendar.
It's like watching a magic trick.
That was an extraordinary experience. That was just in a career in broadcasting, you don't have very many bright ideas, but that was one of my brighter ideas, where I knew the BBC was interested in capturing busy international events. So I contacted a very good friend of mine who's a commissioner at the BBC and said, why don't we do the biggest celebration on earth?
Across the series, I'll be focusing on New Year technology and traditions.
Happy New Year. Ganbai.
And we had 4 months to make that series, so we made it really fast, and it was a really exciting experience. Of course, at the time, we were just making it for the BBC. I was just making it for a British audience, but it was rapidly picked up in China. I mean, both, it was broadcast officially in China and it was broadcast unofficially online in China and picked up instantly. And I think it appeared almost 2 days after the BBC broadcast. It appeared online with subtitles and everything. And the response I was hearing for China was extraordinary.
Cheers! To be perfectly honest, it's the best New Year I've ever had. I've had a few. Oh, you have? More dumplings.
And it's that interesting thing that I think Chinese people liked the fact that here was a British film that captured life in China as they recognised it. And it wasn't a sort of British version of China, it felt like Chinese China.
Bill's authentic portraits of modern China began with his passion for history.
It's a whole sort of historic story that we don't grow up learning. When I look at the story of Rome, I know where that story comes from and I know how that relates to Britain. When I look at the story of China, I didn't know where that story came from. I didn't know how it related to Britain. I didn't know how it related to the modern world. So whilst I started looking at the history in the first place, I became interested in what was happening in China today.
Maybe we'll take one step back.
Because you've worked around the world, how does filming in China compare with other experiences you've had?
There is that whole thing of the Western mindset, which tends to be really quite questioning, sometimes a little bit difficult, putting people in authority in slightly difficult situations. There's not a Chinese approach on that. So you're trying to make something that doesn't just feel like publicity or propaganda or something like that, and feels like a genuine exploration of something. And that's always a challenge because we have a different history on that.
Where do you think TV coverage of China will be going in the future?
I think increasingly China's going to be less exotic, and I think that means that we're going to be doing more stuff that's sort of probing a bit further into the Chinese story, perhaps doing some of the less familiar history stories, perhaps getting a bit deeper into Chinese life. Because up to now it's been a little bit superficial and exotic, and we've been scratching the surface and taking the audience, taking them into the sort of the foothills, if you like, and there's some bigger, interesting mountains sort of beyond that I think people will be going to more.
The trek up those mountains begins with education. And the University of York is in the lead. It's building a £200 million TV training programme with Chinese investment, with plans to recruit 300 overseas students a year, the first cohort this September. As Britain enters uncharted territory over its academic relationship with the EU, tapping into the world's largest student population is now more important than ever. I'm back in London to meet Professor Chin Han, who knows all too well the impact of Brexit on Britain's higher education. So, Chin Han, as a professor of international relations, it must be a fascinating time to be here in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because the international politics has changed so significantly in the UK, especially after Brexit. I think for British higher education, it's a game changer, you can say that, because it has been, in the past, it has been heavily relying on European students, and now we are going to have less European students. Simply talking about the idea of Brexit will already scare them away, let alone about the increase in tuition fee, the visa border control. So for all the chancellors now, I think well, the big question on their mind is how we can find the students to come. And I think the Chinese market are the most obvious one.
1 out of every 5 international students in the UK comes from China, more than any other country in the world. The billions of pounds of Chinese tuition fees every year could bring crucial relief to British universities that have seen a drop of 5% of EU applicants last year. And one way to rake in more Chinese support is through institutional exchange.
I personally, for example, has been collaborating with a few Chinese universities, trying to talk about whether we can have some joint master program, we can join student program. I think that's a necessary step for all of us in the UK.
Growing links in education are shaping the careers of young people in both countries. I'm on my way to meet my former student Freya, one of the 64,000 Chinese students who have received British education in China in the past decade. So what are you doing here in London? Because I know you're working, doing an internship.
We are a media company based in London, and then we report news back to Chinese people. Obviously, we cover the Brexit as well.
In what way have you been covering the Brexit story then? How have you reported that?
We covered what will be influence us.
The impact on China?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're writing for WeChat.
Yes.
So social media is slightly different style of reporting to the more traditional media.
We can't be too serious, otherwise people won't want to read.
So this allows the people who follow your app in China to see what the British media is reporting about Brexit.
Yes, we can sometimes make some jokes of it and use some internet words.
Yeah. So it's very much for the younger Chinese audience.
Yeah. So
do you know how many people are following the site?
Yes, we got 321,000 followers.
Wow. So basically it's what I taught you. It's about writing for your readers. I'm glad you learned.
Good teaching.
So As a young person, you've been a student here, you're now working here. What impact do you think Brexit's going to have in terms of giving you more opportunities to work with and maybe even in the UK?
I think it definitely gives us more opportunities because after Brexit, all the European countries, they will become the same level with us. They will need a visa to come, and if we Chinese people are talented than them, why us can't stay? There's a stereotype that think Chinese people are only good at maths, engineering, but we can also be creative, and we got all those wonderful cultures. We can definitely bring our culture to the UK culture.
Because I know one of your friends, Jeff from... Just because I mentioned Jeff's name, that's why they did that. It is as if the Thames River Cruise is queuing my next guest. Time to catch up with Jeff Chien, another former student who recently got a master's degree in new media and is hoping to start his career in style. Jeff, it's great to meet you again.
Too.
Tell me about your internship here in London.
Okay, I just got like a fashion assistant internship in a fashion magazine in Notting Hill. It's like a dream for me. So it's like first beginning of everything for me. So it's really nice,
You've always been into fashion from when I first taught you several years ago. What is it you love about the fashion industry?
Because in my opinion, you can be you. Like, I'm really bad talking and communicating with different people. But with my style, it's like, it helps me to speak.
And as China looks to do more and more business with the UK, how important is it that China develops the creative industries, not just the manufacturing?
I think people need to be more open-minded. Like for now, fashion bloggers are really huge thing, like internationally. I think China had this opportunity to develop their own fashion bloggers, especially in Shanghai. There's so many new fashion bloggers right now. I think China is going to be like a new platform for fashion, like internationally.
How do you see China developing links in the creative industries with the UK in the Brexit era?
China wants to develop its own fashion industry, and Britain is like a top-notch, it has like all the history. So Britain can be a teacher to China because we're still in the beginning of this industry. So we need to learn from the West, and we need to develop our own stuff. And the UK needs, more opportunity to develop furthermore. So I think they will.
British brands, from high-end Burberry to high-street Topshop, are betting their post-Brexit future on increasingly wealthy Chinese customers. And China is becoming a creative force to be reckoned with. Last year saw a record number of Chinese designers showcase their work on the world's biggest runways. But China isn't just shaking up the world of fashion, it's also revolutionising the world's most popular sport. And the country's #1 fan has a plan.
President Xi, big football fan, they want to host the Cup, they want to win the World Cup.
The president has called football a national priority.
In the next couple of years, China has a goal to build 20,000 primary or middle schools with a focus on football.
我相信中国足球成为世界强国，这可是水到渠成的事情。
The dreams are big, but the realities are tough.
The Chinese national team still struggling a bit in competition.
China's soccer team's underperformance has been embarrassment for fans.
If you really want to make money out of investing into soccer teams, either your brain goes wrong or you're a crook.
With billions of dollars China's investing in club football both at home and abroad, why can't the men do better on the field?
Can China become a world football superpower by 2050?
To try and find some answers, I'm taking a trip down memory lane. Well, welcome to Wembley, one of the world's most famous sporting venues. When I heard that I was going to come back here with the China Chats crew, I really wanted to come to this place because it is a place that means so much to me, both personally and professionally. I've been here as a reporter, sitting in the press box, writing copy, interviewing managers, speaking to players. But my memories of Wembley predate that by a long way. when as a 16-year-old I came here in 1983 and saw my team playing at Wembley for the first time. Manchester United against Liverpool in the League Cup final, and we lost 2-1. I was incredibly sad that day, but 2 months later I was back here for the FA Cup final and I saw Manchester United beat Brighton in a replay. I'd wanted to be a football journalist since I was 8 years old. It was my dream to sit in the press box, to report, to write about the sport I love. 1966, the only time England won the World Cup. It was here in this stadium.
For the Wembley thousands and the millions at home, one thought, victory.
I was alive in 1966, but as I was still in my pram, in my cot, my dad tells me I watched the game, but I wasn't even 1 year old. I don't know if England will ever win the World Cup again. I love football in China, and we know how important football is to President Xi Jinping. When he came on his state visit, he went to Manchester City. Now, there was no way I was going to go to Manchester City, because they are the rivals of my team, Manchester United. But President Xi is hoping that China will be a world football force by 2050. A force in Asia 20 years earlier, in 2030. I have seen football develop in China. I've seen it improve. I've seen Hongda win the Asian Champions League. But when I think of football, I always think of back here. I think of Wembley almost as the home of football. It looks completely different from the venue that I remember as a 16-year-old. But it doesn't matter that it looks different, because it's still Wembley. Great matches, great players, great memories. I love it. As I was thinking of great players, I bumped into a former star. Paul Elliott.
How are you?
Paul, I've seen you playing many, many times.
Thank you. It's an honour and a pleasure to be here.
The former Aston Villa, Celtic and Chelsea player was a formidable defender in the 80s and 90s.
Very decisive.
Paul Elliott joined Chelsea in 1991.
And Elliott! Paul Elliott, a Chelsea player for 36 minutes in the First Division, and his supporters have a new idol.
Although his playing career was cut short due to injury, he's continued to work in promoting equality and diversity in football. Almost a quarter of a century after retiring, Paul's got a mission: China. You're looking at working with China in football?
Absolutely. Well, you know, we've got a lot of expertise. There's already some great work that the FA does internationally in China. So I'm looking to add and support that using my knowledge, my experience. And now it's sort of extended in terms of the coaching, in terms of the referees. You know, they do some fantastic work on women and girls football. The FA's doing some brilliant work, you know. It's the fastest growing sport in the country. And I think it's wonderful for the game. It's international, it's global. So these relationships are special relationships. And they're relationships that we should enhance, we should mobilise from grassroots to the very elite of the game.
Tiger Kang from the Britain-China Sports Association hopes to work with Paul Elliott to promote football education in northern China.
China now built a northern base in China, in Mongolia.
So you look to working with Paul and with the FA to bring more coaches from England to help develop football in China?
That's why we have some of the programs in China designed in the UK and working with Charlton and the London United. And we're going to bring all the programs to China and bring some of the youngsters on the coach and referees to UK for training.
And I look forward to you've been part of helping China qualify for the World Cup.
You too, Daryl. Thank you. You are the part as well. Thank you very much.
It will be a long time till China can even dream of World Cup victory. But judging from the country's track record of achieving the impossible, and now with a little help from a former champion, the ultimate football trophy may not be as far out of reach as one might think. Next time, I travel to Bristol, a sister city of my second home, Guangzhou, and the perfect place for a shot, a shop, and a song. I don't know, I'm going to say hit it.
在哪里，在哪里见过你？你的 的笑容这样熟悉，我一时想不起。